Will Commissioner, staff, and guests please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Limited public comment at this time. Any member of the public wishing to address the committee may do so for up to 3 minutes.
Come on.
I said crowd.
No.
Hello, Michelle Peltier, Hastings. Recently, in the last 2 weeks, the commission has been given an offer or discussion of an offer for the old Friend of Courts building. And I would have read several of the comments that have been made regarding what's best for townships, expansion of the county, future use. But what I would like to see is a business analysis of the pros and cons of this laid out for the maintenance of a vacant building until you decide what to do with it, what the purpose of the building will be, when will that building be put into county purposes again, and then the pros of working with an entity that will provide housing for the county and what cooperation they will give to keep the historic nature of the building, allowed shared parking or use of the building. That is yet to be seen. It's only been comments, but not a real analysis. And also the efficiency of movement of personnel, county personnel that will be using the building if you choose to put departments over there, and time efficiency of those operations. Recently, last year, I believe you had a new software installed in your Register of Deeds. There must have been cost efficiencies there that you were able to document, whether you had to increase personnel, decrease personnel, or if they were able to take on increased workload during the growth of the county for those operations. So it would be interesting to see the Board of Commissioners present that to the public so we can see the transparency of this business transaction that will be for the good of the county. Thank you.
Thank you. Is there further public comment?
Good morning, Mr. Chairman, and good morning, Commissioners. If the paper is correct, I agree with what your decisions that was made on this county building over here. I think it's better to keep it ownership local, better control over it. If you give it to a contractor, especially out of state contractor, 5, 6, 7, 10 years down the road, we don't have any idea what's going to happen to that building. He's a contractor. He builds to make money on apartments, and I think that for himself, that county building would be a burden to him. And we could see that place raised 10 years from now and more apartments put on there. So I thank you for your decision and keeping it. Thank you.
Thank you. Is there further public comment?
Good morning, everyone. My name is Lorraine Zorbo, and I actually live in Kalamazoo, but I'm here on behalf of with Advisacare Home Health Care, and I'm here on behalf of the 5 patients that we take care of here in Berry County who have suffered a catastrophic automobile accident, and we provide that attended care services that allow them to stay in their home. You may or may not be aware that in 2019, the state legislature passed Public Act 21, which then changed auto no-fault coverage so that you could do PIP coverage, but it also, in 2021, reduced the reimbursement for any services to 55% of what they were in 2019. This has caused at least 64 home care agencies to close their doors, which has now put those victims at risk, many of whom have had to go to institutions rather than staying in the comfort of their own home. We have been addressing as an organization, because we cover the entire state of Michigan, although we don't have an office right here in Berry County, but we have gone up to the Board of Commissioners for 24 counties who have now passed a resolution urging the legislature to make a change and a fix to this. new system that has caused deleterious effect on many, many people throughout the state. So I'm hoping that at some point I can get you all some information, some samples of the resolution, so that you can then review it, perhaps put it on your agenda for a future meeting, and we can discuss more, and you can ask any questions that you have.
Thank you.
All right, thank you.
You can speak with the county administrator if you'd like to discuss that resolution. Is there further public comment? No, the office.
Hopefully I didn't lose it. Good morning, Gary White, Nashville, 5th District County Commissioner candidate. Possibilities, opportunities, state constitution mandates, responsibilities, and vision. Probably needed to be a good elected official. You people know my opinion of this cow meeting, waste of taxpayer money, and of no real value because you're just making recommendations to yourselves. 6-7 weeks ago, when I questioned the commission on the FOC building, sell, lease, or rent, you had no answer. After the meeting, I was asked if I had about 10 minutes, a copy of the master facilities plan was being printed for me. I appreciated that. I have it here today and wonder if the commissioners have even read it. Initiative number 11 in it. Let's see, friend of court building reads sell or lease, friend of court building. It is repeated on the next page. Sell, lease, friend of court building. Have you folks read it? You paid, taxpayers paid for it. It was approved by county commissioners to have it done. So when you pay for something and you ignore it, are you real leaders? There have been hundreds of people coming in here during public comment questioning your abilities to represent and to lead for almost a year. It appears Fred Jacobs is on board. Troubled times churning up feckless leaders. Not to worry, you're not the only ones. So as for a vision, here's a vision for the jail. Build it in its current location. After all, there is no property available really. It is utilities and things are there. After you build that, then you can tear down the old jail. And then you can make plans for a county facility down there where staffing needs could be possibly met, along with parking. Does the county own property on or near Algonquin Lake? If so, that makes 2 vacant buildings, not just 1. And as the first person said, what is the cost to hold on to vacant buildings? You just sit here and you make no decision, you have no plans. So do you give this county opportunities, possibilities? Do you have a real vision? Or are you just sitting here holding on to your seats collecting a paycheck and benefits? Please tell us what is the vision for the property? If no plan or not feasible, the commission should have a market analysis done on both properties, sell and use the funds for a jail, and possibly a county complex down there next to the jail. Once again, possibilities, opportunity, and vision. If you have none, where are you taking the county? If you're just sitting here reacting every time something comes out. The front of court building sat there and you knew it was going to be empty and you made no plans at all. So the plan is, what does it cost per month to hold on to it? You're going to have utilities, you're going to have maintenance on it, you're going to have groundskeeping on it. The property on Algonquin Lake, I just heard about a couple weeks ago. That's not even being talked about, is it? And
Thank you for your comments.
Since, pardon me?
Thank you for your comments.
It's been open for what? Months also. Thank you.
Is there further public comment? Hearing none, we'll move ahead. At this time, the chair would entertain a motion to recommend to the Board of Commissioners approval of the Berry County Inmates Administrative Services contract with Blue Cross Blue Shield of Michigan for July 2022 through June 2023.
So moved.
Support. Gibson.
That motion is made by Getty, supported by Gibson. We have Bruce Waldecker here and Michael Brown to explain this proposal.
Yeah, it is on, okay. Yeah, good morning. This
Morning.
is a renewal that, I don't know how many years we've been doing this. I looked to Bruce, not that he necessarily recalls either. I didn't ask him to look at that, but it's been for quite a while. The county is responsible for the costs associated with medical care of inmates that are in our custody and control at the sheriff's department, the jail. Historically, or before this program, if an inmate under our control needed medical care, we had to obtain that medical care on their behalf, and it was at whatever the cost was. We did not have, per se, a discounted rate. Blue Cross, for a number of years now, has offered a contract whereby we enter into an agreement with them. It is not insurance. What we do is we have to pay the bill, and there's a discounted rate. We get Blue Cross's discounts. So I guess at this point, I'm starting to get into the details of the program. I'm going to turn it over to Bruce to talk a little bit about and answer any questions that you might have on the details of it. But effectively, this is for the inmates and the medical care at the jail.
Thank you, Michael. Good morning.
Morning, Bruce. Good to see you again.
Yeah, thank you. Michael hit really all the high points. The main idea, 2 points here, is that prior to this program being in place, the county was paying full retail for whether it was facility charges, professional charges, or prescription drugs. What the Blue Cross program does is provides access to the Blue Cross network of physicians, network of facilities, and then the county receives discounts, the Blue Cross discount. The charge for that, Blue Cross retains 11% of the final billed amount. So there's an 11% charge. However, that's off a typical, for instance, facility discounts are usually about 50%. Professionals are 30 to 40%. So you give back some of the discount, but the discount remains huge. That's part one. Part two is prior to the implementation of this program, the county, somebody at the county would have to write a check and reconcile each bill to each provider, or write a check to the pharmacy or the doctors or facilities. Now you have one consolidated bill, so there's just one invoice to pay each month.
When did this change?
This program's been in effect at the county, I can get a date, but it's decades.
I was going to say.
I've been here since 2020.
I just didn't know if that change had occurred in the last 10 years or
No.
the consolidated
No,
bill.
no. This program we put in place, and it's been here for quite some time. And to that point, there are no changes to the program, what we're currently doing, or for the coming year. It's the same details.
Okay. Questions or comments from commissioners?
I got a question.
Yes,
Would
sir.
there be a discount if it was for a longer period of time? I see this is for a year. If it was longer than a year, would there be a substantial discount or not?
No, what Blue Cross has determined is that they charge 11% of the final billed amount, and it's been that same 11% forever. And that's the cost to rent their network and for them to do the processing. Also, I don't know if they're prohibited by law, but I know that Blue Cross does not do multi-year contracts. Not sure exactly why, but I think it's something to do state law.
Commissioner Connor?
Great question, though.
Do you know, for example, in 2020, I don't know if you have all 2021 data yet or not, but could you tell us if we had to pay for it without you and what our savings are now that we have been doing this?
Sure.
Like what the savings would have been for 1 year versus retail versus this program?
I'll have to get that number, but a rolling 12, so May 1st, 2021 through April 30th.
Okay.
I've got that information, April
Okay,
30th,
that's fine.
2022. That was, net was $120,000 of cost to the inmates, or to the county for the inmate program, and that was all in. My guess is, if average discount, probably say 35%, so if you rounded that up, we're saving $40,000, $50,000, $60,000.
$1,000?
But I'll get that number.
Then if we could have it before the next meeting.
Sure, I'll send that through Michael.
Thank you.
Thank you, Bruce. Good question, Vivian. Anybody else? So, just to recap, this is required by state law that we provide health insurance coverage to the inmates that are under our custody.
Let me back up. We're required by law to provide medical care.
Medical care.
The care of the inmates. And it's not required that we have any type of policy. And this is not an insurance policy. Inmates are not, we're not paying a premium like you would for your,
This is for
yourself
care.
or your family, so that an inmate has then insurance coverage like we would. All we're doing is renting Blue Cross's network that they've negotiated. So if you have Blue Cross insurance, you get that one to insure yourself, you pay a premium, but you also then are getting the discounts that they've negotiated with hospitals and providers. All we're doing on this one is renting, if you may, paying for the discount. So when we have to pay the bill directly to the, although Blue Cross, that we go through Blue Cross, but we pay the bill, it's at the discounted rate.
Great.
Sure.
And this might help from a logistical how we do it is many inmates will be inmates and never be on the program. The only time, so if somebody needs to go to the hospital, we're notified by Carrie at Berry County. We put them on the Blue Cross for the duration that they're in the hospital, and then we take them right off again.
Great.
So, like I
It
said,
really
many
is,
inmates,
it's care versus coverage.
it's just, we put them on to get the discount, and then we take them right back off to make sure that there's no, you know, when they're released, they don't have access to the Blue Cross unless they have it elsewhere.
Thank you. There's no further questions. The question for the committee is to recommend to the Board of Commissioners approval of the Berry County Inmates Administrative Services Contract with Blue Cross Blue Shield of Michigan for July 2022 through June 2023. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed, nay. Motion carries. Thank you.
Thanks so much.
Next, we have a request from the Berry County Sheriff's Office. At this time, the chair would entertain a motion to recommend to the Board of Commissioners adoption of Resolution 2209, a resolution to approve and authorize execution of agreement for police functions and responsibilities between the Village of Middleville and the County of Berry.
I'll make that motion.
Second?
Motion is made by Gibson, supported by Connor. Discussion? Do we have the undersheriff here?
I'll do the best I can. It appears that we don't have anybody from the Sheriff's Department. This isn't an agreement that, and when I say I'll do the best I can, that I was directly involved in. The Sheriff's Department.
Let's hold on just a second, Michael. This is a significant item for the Sheriff's Department and for the Village of Middleville. Do we want to postpone this item until later in the meeting? Yeah, but the,
But I don't know about,
yeah, we were informed that Sheriff Leaf would not be here, but I was under the impression the undersheriff would be here.
We do this every year, so I
Now, do we do it every year?
We do not do it every year.
We
It's
don't?
it's
a
an agreement
multi-year
that
contract.
had a multi-year. The last one, I guess, was, as it indicated, 1999 is when it indicates that it was done.
So if there's no objection, I'd like to move this until after the deputy medical examiner's appointments. Is there any objection to postponing the question? Hearing no objection, the question is postponed.
can somebody try to get a hold of it?
Yeah, can we try to get a hold of the undersheriff? Moving ahead, we'll move to a request from the Solid Waste Oversight Committee. At this time, the chair would entertain a motion to recommend to the Board of Commissioners approval of the recycling coordinator, Rachel France, overseen by the Solid Waste Oversight Committee, SWOC, to complete a grant application for the Michigan Department of Environmental, Great Lakes, and Energy Materials Management Community Engagement Grant, and authorize the chairperson to sign a letter of commitment.
So moved, Jackson. Support.
Motion is made by Jackson, supported by Smelker. Do we have the recycling coordinator here? Okay.
No, but the time was 9:30, so.
What time is it now? Well, let's discuss it now. So this, we have two members of the Solid Waste Oversight Committee You're on the board. Can you tell us what this grant application is?
I thought I could, but now, after I did some research this weekend and I got my packet, I can't really say. Can you, I have the minutes from our last meeting where it was approved.
Okay, we can wait. If there's no objection, we will.
It says, Material Management County Engagement Grant webinar, and it sounds like the grant is available. They are really pushing it out to all counties as they are trying to give $9,000 per county to assist with making this first step essentially, at least committing to making the plan. They will also be providing some training and resources. And the idea of, they're really pushing the idea of collaborating with other counties, and they will give you a little bit more money if you collaborate. So he doesn't know if that is something we want to consider or not. It seems that this is to try to get everybody on the same page. They talk about shifting from solid waste management to material management, but it's not really well defined, and it's due the 15th. Initially, I thought it was for money, and I'm still not
No.
totally sure.
Well, that's why we need to have a presenter here.
Yeah,
So if
so we
there's
need
no
the presenter.
objection, we will postpone this question until after the sheriff's office request for Middleville. Is there any objection postponing this question?
I mean, unless David has a better understanding of it.
No, that's, I thought it was initially for materials and for some of the stuff we do with
Yeah.
solid waste for tire collection and some of the stuff like that, but it's a little more detailed than that, but
Okay.
Okay, yeah.
If there's no objection, the question will be postponed. The question is postponed. Next, we have Commissioner Connor here. The chair would entertain a motion to recommend to the Board of Commissioners amending the expenditure budget for Fund Number 475 of 2021, BPW Middleville Sewer Construction Fund, increasing the expenditure line item from $0 to $2,428,915.
So moved.
Second.
That motion is made by Gibson, supported by Getty. Discussion.
So, last year, this board and the Board of Public Works supported the Middleville expansion of their sewer system. And basically, we got a bond, and the Board of Public Works, and we're paying the bills for that. But we need a line item, we need a expenditure report. The revenues were received last year in 2021, so we don't really need a revenue report, but we just need an expenditure report completed, and I had to come through here because it changes the county budget because we're the fiduciary.
Right. So this is more of an auditing and process adjustment.
Yes.
It doesn't change the contribution amount or the impact on the taxpayers?
No, it's a bond, and Middleville will be paying it back.
Okay.
It's all been drafted through attorneys, but we just need that revenue line item created for a revenue expenditure report.
Okay. Any questions or comments? Hearing none, the question before the committee is to recommend to the Board of Commissioners amending the expenditure budget for Fund Number 475 of 2021, BPW Middleville Sewer Construction Fund, increasing expenditure line item 475,000,700,000 from $0 to $2,428,915. All those in favor will say aye. Aye. Opposed, nay. Motion carries. This time, the chair would entertain a motion to recommend to the Board of Commissioners approval to appoint Dr. Anna Tart and Dr. Edmund Donahue as deputy medical examiners for Berry County.
so moved, Jackson.
Support, Smelker.
Motion is made by Jackson, supported by Smelker. Discussion. Michael?
Sure, thank you. We contract for medical examiner services with WMU, Western Michigan University Med. Our medical examiner is recommending the appointment of 2 deputy medical examiners that have recently been hired by the medical examiner's office. First one is Dr. Anna Tart, and The second is Dr. Edmund Donahue. So I'm happy to, their resumes are attached and credentials. Be happy to try to answer any questions that you might have.
Seems like we're changing deputy medical examiners every year.
There's been some movement, yes. There has been, just like, I guess, everything these days. I think one WMU Med in the medical examiner's office portion of that is growing. They're taking on additional counties, which requires bringing on additional deputy medical examiners. But I also think that there is some movement of individuals, just like any other profession that we have. So, yeah, we have appointed a few.
Questions or comments from commissioners? Hearing none, the question before the oh, I'm sorry.
Do these people live here? When I'm looking at their resumes,
My guess is that one is from Minneapolis. They'll be moving here.
okay,
So, no, they do not live, or maybe do it now, but
Okay.
at the time they applied and whatnot.
well, because I noticed they both were licensed, but it was like,
Yeah.
their address was in
No.
other states.
It's not a position or a job that I'm aware of that you can do remotely.
Yeah, I was wondering about that. We have a lot of travel costs. It's
So,
$5.19 a gallon.
although they do I'm getting off topic, but I know that the military and other does do surgery remotely. It's quite amazing these days what they can do. But no, I don't. It's my understanding that they will.
They will be relocated.
They will be in this West
Okay.
Michigan, southern West Michigan area.
Knowing Michael's professionalism, I doubt he even meant that as a joke. So, any other questions or comments? Hearing none, the question before the committee is to recommend to the Berry County Board of Commissioners approval to appoint Dr. Anna Tarr, MD, and Dr. Edmund Donahue, MD, as deputy medical examiners for Berry County. All those in favor will say aye. Aye. Opposed, nay. Motion carries.
Thank you.
We've now reached a point in our agenda where we have postponed items. The board want to
We
take
take
a
a break?
5-minute break?
I'll try to call Rachel.
Yeah. Without objection, we'll take a 5-minute recess. Board is at recess.
No, they got coffee over there now.
The committee will come to order. So I just spoke with the undersheriff and our recycling coordinator. Both had circumstances that they are on their way here, and they would like to present today, but it won't be for a few minutes. So if there's no objection, we will take a recess until 9:55.
9:55.
What do you think?
I guess I don't have any great plans.
The solid, the grant that they're asked, want to apply for, that has a deadline of the 15th. We'll be approving it. If approved, it'll make the cow next week.
The BOC next week.
The BOC,
Yeah.
which would be the 14th. Right.
Yeah, but I mean, they can.
So we could take a recess, or we could discuss other things.
I'm up for waiting.
Waiting?
We're
Yep.
here. All right, hearing no objection, the board will recess till 9:55. Oversight Committee. Hearing no objection, the item is lifted from the table. The question before, you can have a seat, Rachel. The question before the committee is to help Ben find his papers. Question before the committee, thank you, is to recommend to the Board of Commissioners approval for the recycling coordinator, Rachel France, overseen by the Solid Waste Oversight Committee, SWOC, to complete a grant application for the Michigan Department of Environmental, Great Lakes, and Energy Materials Management Company Community Engagement Grant, and authorize the chairperson to sign a letter of commitment. That motion has been made and
So
seconded.
moved, Gibson?
It's already on the table.
Okay.
Rachel, what do we got here?
All right, so I just want to clarify, the agenda request had some missing information. We had a few more bullet points. I can go over those if you'd like.
Yeah,
So,
please.
I believe there are 2 on there. So the continuation of that is to promote municipal engagement and education and outreach activities for material management planning, establish or continue conversations with interested parties on materials management planning, review the county profile developed through the Mega Data Project with RRS, which has already been completed. Determine changes and impacts due to potential legislative changes to Part 115 amendment. So Part 115 is the solid waste legislation that allows us to do this.
Mm-hmm.
Sorry, I fell asleep. There we go. Determine if or how to integrate other sustainable practices into future materials plans such as energy recovery and saving, sustainability and pollution prevention, decarbonization, social equity, and climate resiliency. The DPA, which is me in this grant, and others as appropriate, will attend regional engagement web event hosted by Eagle or approved partners, provide a summary on how these ideas could be integrated into future material management plans, and provide an analysis of potential funding mechanisms. So the letter of commitment will just basically say the board is going to support me in these efforts toward moving from that solid waste management plan to the material management plan. The grant application is nothing more than checking the boxes saying that I will do the listed things that I just listed to you, and then they will give us the money.
Great. So to summarize, what does the shift from solid waste management to materials management mean? I mean, to a layperson.
Yeah, so solid waste management is basically getting rid of solid waste, just getting rid of it,
Throwing it
in the landfill. We don't
out of sight, out of mind.
Yes, exactly. So materials management will focus more on the recovery of items and recycling, reuse, things like that to reduce what we're putting in the landfill, which then makes it so we don't have to expand landfills or make more landfills.
Great. Questions or comments from commissioners? Vice Chair Connor?
So Rachel and I talked a little bit, and she said there's some missing pages, which, will you make sure that gets the updated?
She should have the full one. I'm reading this from the email. I think that it may have just gotten chopped off in the transferring.
Maybe we're too ahead of our recycling in paper.
Well, because usually it says, is there money, and, the bottom looks different on the agenda request. So it looks like
No, actually, it's,
something's missing.
something's missing.
Yeah. Thank you.
I can
And
forward you.
Mostly this is for training for you
Yes.
to move forward with these new practices.
Correct, and then I would support the committee that will actually write or rewrite the materials management plan, moving from that solid waste to the materials management.
That is quite a task. How long do you think it'll take to write that new plan?
That I can't say for sure. With the support of the committee, I'm sure it shouldn't take too long, and I will probably take the vast majority of that work.
Great.
Writing plans is a lot of fun. I've written watershed management plans, so I'm sure that this will be no different.
All right. Any other questions or comments? Hearing none, the question before the committee is to recommend to the Board of Commissioners approval for the recycling coordinator, Rachel France, overseen by the Solid Waste Oversight Committee, SWOC, to complete a grant application for the Michigan Department of Environment, Great Lakes, and Energy, Eagle Materials Management Community Engagement, MMCE grant, and authorize the chairperson to sign a letter of commitment. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed, nay. Motion carries. Thanks, Rachel. Without objection, we will take from the table the item from the sheriff's office. Hearing no objection, the item is taken from the table. The question now before the committee is to recommend to the Board of Commissioners adoption of Resolution 2209, a resolution to approve and authorize execution of agreement for police functions and responsibilities between the Village of Middleville and the County of Berry. The motion has been made and seconded. Discussion. Thank you, Undersheriff, for being here today.
My apologies. If I knew I was coming, I would have been in uniform.
No, no problem. So, the last time this contract was approved, or when this contract was first adopted, that was 1999. And so you've been in the Berry County Sheriff's Office probably since that time, right?
Since 1990, yes.
Yeah. So what has changed in terms of police services for the Middleville area?
Well, we definitely needed it updated because there was many different avenues that was happening. They are wishing to add another deputy up there, which would be in the contract also with us. And but there was so many outdated items that were on the original one back in 1999 that was replaced or removed and added the others. So that's what we are doing at this time. There's been two different people that's gone through this from the Village of Middleville that's no longer there, thus, as well as the sheriff and I, as well as Lieutenant Olenichek reviewed this, and Sergeant Stevens, which now is our Lieutenant Stevens, which took Lieutenant Olenichek's place in lieu of his retirement in June 30th.
Mm-hmm.
So that's the main thing, and we went through this quite extensively, off and on, and both the village as well as the sheriff has agreed with this contract.
Okay. So in terms of the structure for the Middleville unit, there's a sergeant that's assigned?
Yes, a sergeant assigned, and there will be 3 deputies instead of 2.
Okay.
They requested and added a third one.
Now, does this agreement cover just the Village of Middleville, or does it cover more?
It just covers the Village of Middleville. Obviously, if we need assistance outside the village, they will come out, as well as we cover when they're not on it for their hours.
Okay. I'll ask Commissioner Getty and Commissioner Smelker, what are the sentiments of the leaders out in Thornapple Township and the village?
This was in direct response to the growth that the Village of Middleville has seen, and being able to cover adequately their jurisdiction. And so they worked with the sheriffs. I was attended a few of the council meetings where this was being discussed. So this has been going back and forth to make sure that all the I's were dotted and the T's were crossed, and it was an accurate reflection of the service that's being provided. I think this has been probably in the works for about a year, plus or minus, maybe more. But
at least since last September, for sure.
It's a significant amount of work that went into this to bring it here.
Great.
I have heard nothing against it, and the patrons in that district over there, I think, want it. And one question I have for Jason is, I feel that I read it in there, but I want to make sure that if a Middleville officer is on duty, Berry County officer needs help, they can respond, right?
Most definitely, yes.
And vice versa?
Correct.
Thank you.
And just to clarify, Ben, this is only for the Village of Middleville. It doesn't include Thornapple Township
Right.
or any of,
Yeah.
it's only the Village
Yeah,
of Middleville.
my question
voters.
is more in mutual aid. If there was an incident within the township, the Middleville unit.
We've always have done that, as well as the rest of the villages and cities have assisted each other, as well as us assisting them, as well as the state police.
Okay. Any other questions or comments?
I have a question. So basically, they're already Berry County deputies, but they spend a portion of their time serving the Village of Middleville, and then Middleville just picks up their wages and expenses for while they're there, and then we bill the village?
They're assigned to the Village of Middleville. That's usually we do it for 2 years. So we try to alternate, or we have in the past tried to alternate it so we wouldn't have 2 brand new deputies up there at one time. And we make sure they're beyond their, most of the time, they're always past their probationary period before we send someone up there. But they are assigned to the Village of Middleville.
But they're employees here
They are
and they're
employees for
paid
the
by
Berry County Sheriff's
us,
Office.
and then Middleville reimburses us
Correct.
at their current wages
Everything's the
and
same.
everything? Okay, that's what I want to know. Thank you.
I have another question. It's unrelated, and if you can't answer, that's fine. But I was planning to ask this to the sheriff, if you're here today. Where are we in terms of filling the positions for the new detectives that we?
I put out a email last week for anybody that was interested in that position. So due to the fact that we may have another one leaving us also, so we may have
Okay.
2 spots to fill there. So
All right. Yeah, I was going to ask the sheriff. You don't know if he'll be here next week?
he has a sheriff's conference next week, Sunday, Monday, and Tuesday.
Thank you. Any other questions or comments? Hearing none, the question before the committee is to recommend to the Board of Commissioners adoption of Resolution 2209, a resolution to approve and authorize execution of agreement for police functions and responsibilities between the Village of Middleville and the County of Berry. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed, nay. The item carries. Thank you. Limited public comment. This time, any member of the public wishing to address the committee may do so for up to 3 minutes.
Once again, Gary White, Nashville. You had a workshop, and apparently your practice is not to live stream it. That's the only opportunity that people, you know, like myself, I was out of state, could really watch to see if you have a vision or if you have no vision. Once again, your agenda here allows you to make no comments, not to address any possibilities. And then at your next meeting, you will do a commissioner's report. And once again, you will not, unless somebody puts on an agenda item, be able to address any of the questions that have been asked of you. So does your agenda provide you any opportunity to give a vision, each individual one, to the public in a public body, in public meeting? I've said numerous times that your agendas need to be rearranged. You have no place to address public comment here. You have no place to put out your vision of what needs to be done. If you're new on here, have you even put an agenda request on there? Are you waiting for somebody to do it? You know, when you represent people, but you never respond back to what they're saying, or you never can work on ideas as an open governing body, where are you at? Once again, it's needed. Change is needed. Change has been going around this commission for decades. They made a change at this cow meeting, which once again, have you ever approved your minutes of the cow, in a cow? It's a committee of the whole meeting. It's not your board of directors. Do you have minutes? Do you approve them at your Board of Commissioners meeting? Does state law say you approve it at the meeting that you're at? So I'm just sitting there. Do you ever update yourselves? It's going to be nice to see some new commissioners out here. Thank you.
Is there further public comment?
Adam Heikela, local business owner. Yeah, I was surprised last week too, and there was no video. I guess maybe just convenient is the way it kind of played out for a lot of the folks that couldn't be here. You know, just being that it was a little bit of contention or you know, just some issues going on with that whole situation. So, yeah, strange to a lot of people that, you know, those things wouldn't be, especially if it is a, you know, a workshop, you know, that's, you know, a learning thing. Everyone should be able to learn. The public should be able to learn. I mean, everything that you do should be for the public. And then, Ben, I don't know, you know, sometimes people lie about things a lot, and they don't even recognize it sometimes. Sometimes we say things, you know, because they are more convenient or, in the situation. Because right now today, we were told by you that, these two individuals that were late had extenuating circumstances, that there was something that held them up. But both of them, when they showed up here, openly said that they had forgot about it, and that they weren't planning to be here. So which is it? I mean, are you lying to cover for people in some way? I mean, these are things that I pick up on here because it's the reality of what's happening. I don't know if everyone else does or not, but you just lied to us, I mean, and it's just okay, right? Because it was lying to cover, it's not a big deal or whatever it might be. But no, you just sat here and lied to the people again. And I got an issue with that. I think everyone should have an issue with that, It seems like it's just a basic thing. But yeah, you lied. That's just wrong. I still have an issue too. We have an armed guard here. I've been attending again my Calhoun County commission meetings. Calhoun County is quite a bit larger, a lot more crime that goes on, violence and other things that happen in Calhoun County, but they don't have an armed guard standing there protecting, you, because we all know that you all want this protection for you because you're scared of your constituents. You're scared of people coming to the meeting for some reason. If you're scared, you should just step down. You obviously can't represent the people if you're just scared of the people and you want to do things, obviously, to be separate and control the people. You lie to the people, right? I mean, you do things to not share transparently what you're doing at meetings when there's contentious topics that are being discussed. It's just convenient, right? I've been around this for many, many years, watching boards like yourselves do all of these same actions. People that do this over time, they're going to see the repeated pattern as well. So if you're too scared, step down. Don't do this. If you're going to lie to people, step down. Don't do this.
To further public comment.
Brandon Strong, Hastings Charter Township. Good morning, Commissioners. Today I would encourage you to support working on and with the various entities involved in the FOC development. Frankly, housing is important to our communities. Personally, I know of 3 families that are desiring to move to this area, none of which can find housing. Sit down and have a conversation. Consider negotiating. See what you can be developed as potentially a multi-use facility that would allow for more housing in one of our communities. We need housing. Let's lead in this. Let's not wait and see what happens. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Is there further public comment?
I'm not taking 3 minutes. I want you to read this, and I want you to ask yourself one question. Who's paying for all this? Where's the money coming from? Your pocket? My pocket? The county's pocket? Wherever. Ask yourself that question. Number 2, thank you very much for the approval of Rachel Francis grant. We can use that for recycling. Read that.
Thank you. Is there further public comment?
Good morning. Scott Savage from Hastings Charter Township. I want to apologize for bringing up this subject, but some folks look to me to ask questions, and they've asked me to ask some questions. So here it goes. Berry County has suffered enough bad press already because of some of the bad actors in our communities. I do not relish giving more air to the exploits of these bad actors because more press is what these actors want. They need press coverage to continue to spread their disinformation campaign regarding election fraud. There was no election fraud. The few verified reports of somebody voting twice or submitting ballots of dead people, of Republicans committing the fraud on just a small scale. But the biggest pusher of the election fraud lie here in Berry County is our own sheriff. What a shame for Berry County to have a prominent person such as Leaf perpetuate the big lie and then use the budget of his office to pay for his trumped-up investigation. Will the county get reimbursed for the money spent on his investigators or his FOIA request? Because it appears that this investigation is a personal vendetta. Questions I have been asked to comment on. Is the county listed as a plaintiff on his investigation? If so, shouldn't our county attorney be involved? Should there be a citizens oversight board for the sheriff's office? Next question. How much money has the Berry County Sheriff's Office spent in total so far on this investigation into alleged fraud? Do we need a forensic audit? This investigation should end now because all election fraud claims across the entire nation have been thrown out of court in every case. Then we should see a final report. One remedy we have is a recall campaign. The window of opportunity for a recall has now arrived as of June 1st, as the public was prohibited from starting a recall during the first 18 months of Leaf's installation of his new term of office. I would support this recall effort. With the time remaining, I would like to ask about deputies who have resigned. Have there been exit interviews and are they available to the public? Seems to be a shortfall seen at the inability of Berry County Sheriff's Office to cover requests at public events. There was a event, 24-hour bicycle event held in Middleville recently that had to be canceled because the sheriff's office couldn't supply the officers they had last year.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Is there further public comment? Hearing no further public comment, and without objection, the committee will now adjourn. Committee is adjourned.